We were very close tonight. There's some nuances with the language and some questions that need to be answered, and we'll get it done. The extension allows us the time to do that.
House Speaker Mike Johnson speaking shortly after the House unanimously passed a 10-day extension of FISA overnight. Happened about 2 o'clock this morning after rejecting a long-term renewal over privacy concerns. Now, the deadline is now pushed until April 30th after this was set to expire Monday at midnight. Now, the Speaker remaining confident his team can come to an agreement by the end of the month. Trump administration arguing it would be reckless to let this program lapse, especially during the Iran conflict. The measure now heading to the Senate, which has already headed for an early weekend out. They're going to be back to full session Monday afternoon. I want to bring in Texas Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Congresswoman, good morning to you. And yeah, this was passed early morning. This isn't a 5-year extension of FISA, funding for FISA. It's just till the end of the month. Your reaction?
Yeah, we're looking at a 2-week extension to give both sides, all sides, an opportunity to kind of socialize some of the requirements that some of our more conservative members are asking for, which is, making sure that we are respecting the privacy of American citizens. At the same token, we also recognize the fact that we've got 78 World Cup events that are about to happen in our country. We're celebrating the 250th birthday of our country, and we're going to have some massive events that, potentially going to be targeted. And we want to make sure that we're providing safety for American citizens. So I think the 2-week extension, as much as I would have liked to have been able to vote on 18 months to give this president and the intel community a little bit more time, understand that we need to do that. I spoke with John Ratcliffe last night twice. He has made himself more than available to members who've got questions to make sure that they understand that this is a very important project that we've got undertaking, that we need to get this FISA the court passed and make sure that they give the tools to our intelligence community to make us safe.
All right. Well, let's move on to the other business on Capitol Hill, and that's DHS. Officials from non-immigration enforcement agencies testifying on the department's 2027 budget before House appropriations yesterday. The department still faces a record-long partial shutdown. We're on day 63 right now. Lawmakers questioning heads of ICE, Border Patrol, Immigration Services, all of which have gone without any funding since the shutdown began. Now, Republicans are now eyeing another reconciliation bill to fund those agencies going forward. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer told Maria that plan is the House Speaker's current intention. Listen to what he said to her.
You got a lot of priorities. You got the priorities for defense spending. The president wants a $1.5 trillion defense budget. You've also got the Save America Act. Are you expecting to do another reconciliation before the midterms then?
That is our speaker's intention. In fact, we had this discussion last night that was the intent to do for the second reconciliation bill until the Senate decided to handle it the way they did, which didn't work for the House, literally passing a bill that carved out the Customs and Border Patrol and immigration enforcement officers from the bill. That did not work in the House, so it held everything up. Now we had to pivot to a reconciliation bill because Democrats will not help us with anything. They will not vote for anything that will put the Americans' safety first. Well, so we're going to have to do it.
So Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, meanwhile, announced he's going to step down from his role at the end of May. He's going to go into the private sector. But, Congresswoman, let's talk about this issue of reconciliation, because on the Senate side, Senator Majority Leader John Thune says we need a quick, decisive path forward reconciliation to fund DHS. Lindsey Graham says same thing. We've got to be focused. They want a skinny bill. Tommy Tuberville, the senator, he is saying, let's jam as much stuff as we can get in there. And then you've also got, again, House Speaker Mike Johnson and others, and you heard from that soundbite, saying we're going to do reconciliation now. We're going to do another one before the midterms. That would be 3 reconciliation bills in 2 years, Congresswoman.
Yeah, well, we've got an opportunity to do it. I think while you've got the majority in the House, the majority in the Senate, and you've got a president who will sign these things into law, we need to add as much as we possibly can. Now, the reconciliation bill, we've got 2 more bites at the apple this year. If they want to use a skinny bill to get DHS funding and quickly put that over the edge so that it's taken off the table so that the Democrats can't hold us hostage for the next 3 years, do it. But Senate, go ahead and get that bill over to us ASAP. And then we can, at the same time, walk and chew gum, work on another reconciliation package that has things in it to support, defense, our Department of War, looking at potentially healthcare bills and additional tax provisions that were taken out of the first reconciliation package last year. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Senate, get us a bill to fund DHS funding, and then also we can work on this additional larger reconciliation package.
I guess, if memory serves here, and I've got the dates here, it was from February through July 3rd of last year that it took to get the one big beautiful bill across the finish line. So that was one. Now we're talking about two more. I'm just thinking about the midterms and the calendar. But I will say this. Senator Kennedy said this: those who tell us we're going to have a third reconciliation bill have been smoking the devil's lettuce. We'll never have a third bill. I mean, leave it to Senator Kennedy.
He's so direct. I love Kennedy.
I know. I do too.
It's true. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. And are we willing to come to the table and recognize the fact that, look, midterms are coming up fine, but how often are you going to have all three, the House, the Senate, and the presidency to be able to put together a package and deliver on, what our promises are to the American people? Take advantage of it while you have it. And yeah, we can have these internal debates, we can have these discussions, fine. But there are a lot of tax provisions, a lot of support that we need for, Department of War moving forward, looking at what's going on in Iran and the rest of the world. We can get this done. Let's get to the table. What we don't need to do is continue to go on recess and leave D.C. I mean, right now, we're going to be waiting for the Senate to come back, because they're gone for the weekend, to come back and make sure that our FISA program continues, which is set to expire at midnight on Monday. I hate waiting till the very last second to get this stuff done. It seems that that's what the Senate does.
It seems like that's what happens in Washington in general after years of watching this, Congressman. But real quick, I got to ask you about the American consumer, because many regular working Americans have been benefiting from the big, beautiful bill. Treasury says about 12 million small business owners have seen the impacts on their taxes. And Kelly Loeffler joined Maria earlier in the week. Here's what she said about the impact in all of this.
Small businesses are seeing the benefits of this tax bill in real time, paired with deregulation, paired with fair trade. But just look at the benefits of the tax bill for the workers of small business. Over 30 million Americans have already benefited from no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. We see this transformation going on across the country because the president's tailwinds are much stronger than any short-term headwinds.
Now you got 4 blue states: California, New York, Illinois, Colorado. They're going to keep taxes on tips and overtime. Congresswoman, you're a member of House Small Business. Your reaction?
Member of House Small Business and Ways and Means. And yeah, this is exactly what we were planning on doing is, federal government wants to tax everything. And what we try to do is, maybe it's not all at once, but we are trying our damnedest to make sure that people can keep the money that they make. And you're seeing tens of millions of Americans now getting larger refunds. Our refunds are up now over 16% than what they were last year. This is real money going to real people's pockets for real hardworking Americans. So no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, the additional standard deduction, the child tax credit, increase. All of these things are helping. And for small businesses, we started out tax day at 8 in the morning with a roundtable of small businesses talking about how these provisions have helped them increase in the amount that they're being able to invest in their growth, how much they're being able to pay, the benefits that they're giving to their employees. This is helping tens of millions of Americans. It's helping our economy. This is exactly what that bill was meant to do. And so far, we're seeing the benefits of it.
And we've heard from all the big banks this week with earnings, and they're saying the same thing, that there is strength there. Congressman Beth Van Duyne, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to see you.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you. Good morning. Have a great weekend.